Call the Planning and Zoning meeting to order. Will everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, John Matthews. Here. Terry Rukowski. Here. Mark Denny.
here.
Alex DeMauro.
Here.
Wolf Smith is absent. Rocky Hempel.
Here.
Jeanette Holloman.
Here.
Jeff Spink.
Here.
And I'm here is 8 members present. All right, and approval of the minutes. First we'll do the work session. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor with second to approve the minutes of the work session from February 5th. Any discussion? Hearing none, have a roll call vote. John Matthews?
Yes.
Terry Rukowski?
Yes.
Mark Denny?
Yes.
Alex DeMauro?
Yes.
Rocky Hempel?
Yes.
Jeanette Holloman?
Yes.
Jeff Spink?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion carries 8-0. Now for the last month's minutes, January's.
January 8th. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the minutes from January 8th.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion on the floor is second to approve January minutes as written. Is there any further discussion?
I have one correction, Mr. Chairman. On case DEV 19-137, we failed to document in there how you voted.
Okay.
I believe-
I noticed that, but
No.
the vote count was good. So
Yeah,
the
but
vote
I didn't know
count was
if
correct.
that was
Yeah.
necessary since everybody else was listed.
Yeah.
I don't want you to miss your publicity there, Steve.
Well, I figured the count was right, so I figured it was just an oversight. I didn't think it probably mattered a lot, but you're correct. Do you both accept that correction? Okay. Jeanette?
Yes, indeed.
All right, any further discussion? Roll call vote, John Matthews?
Yes.
Terry Bukowski?
Yes.
Mark Denny?
Yes.
Alex DeMauro?
Yes.
Rocky Hempel?
Yes.
Jeanette Holloman?
Yes.
Jeff Spink?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion carries 8-0. Secretary's report?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. We have several cases on the agenda. However, a couple of those are going to be continued. Case B under the consent agenda is going to be continued to the March 11th meeting. Under the regular agenda, item A, the SUP for Miss Jen's house is going to be continued pending the outcome of item C. And item B, the rezoning, is being continued to the March 11th Planning Commission meeting. So we will be hearing the text amendment, item C. With the agenda, we will be approving items A and C, and then we'll have a BZA.
Okay, so item 8A and 8C are the consent agenda.
Yep.
That's 2 plats. And then, okay. Everybody understand? Anything else?
That's all.
That's it? Okay. Approval of the agenda. Before we do, I do have a conflict on one item on the consent agenda, and I will abstain from any vote on that since we didn't. If we don't pull it out of the consent agenda, so do I have a motion on the agenda?
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion on the floor. Second to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Roll call vote. John Matthews?
Yes.
Terry Bukowski?
Yes.
Mark Denny?
Yes.
Alex DeMauro?
Yes.
Rocky Hempel?
Yes.
Jeanette Holloman?
Yes.
Jeff Spink?
Yes.
And and I will abstain. So we had 7 to 1 abstain. Okay. Any other declarations? If not, we will start. Turned it already. Okay, case number DEV 19-138, consideration application for a text amendment to amend Article 3, Section 2, definition home occupation, request submitted by planning and zoning staff. This does require a public hearing. Public comments limited 3 minutes per person. Staff report.
Mr. Chairman, this is case number DEV-19-138. This is an amendment to our current definition of a home occupation. We have discussed this multiple times over our last couple of work sessions. Our current definition of a home occupation is rather restrictive. This proposed definition would allow for some uses, perhaps a daycare, an in-home daycare, a small barber shop, that sort of thing, to be permitted within a home without needing to come through and get a special use permit. Do you want me to go through all of these, or?
I mean, unless you think we need two for the public, but we've all heard it, and we're all good, and we've read it.
Perfect. The one item that I do want to bring to your attention is under item A8, restrictions and limitations. I do want to add to this, vehicular or parking demand shall not exceed 12 two-way passenger vehicle trips. So we want to make sure that it's clear that it's passenger vehicles, not commercial type vehicles. So I would like to add that one change, but other than that change, everything else is just like we have talked about the last couple of weeks.
Crystal?
Yeah.
That's one I had a question on. 8A, vehicle or parking demand shall not exceed 12 two-way vehicle or parking greater than 4 customer vehicles at one time. That's confusing. So what are you saying?
She just changed the word passenger vehicles, so you know it's cars.
Well, yeah, but
So no more, so you might have 12 customers in a day, but you're not going to have more than 4 at any one time, is what that is.
Is that the one you just changed, right?
Yes, correct, and we're just adding passenger
Passenger.
vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the wording's just kind of confusing to me.
Yeah, so it's parking, it's parking, it's not dropping off or anything like that, it's physically parking.
Right, correct, yeah.
Yes,
So if it's a
okay.
daycare, we're going to have moms and dads dropping
Yeah,
off kids,
the
and there
same,
might,
yes.
but parking, like say it was a beauty salon,
Yes.
sort of thing. No more than 4 vehicles parked there
Yeah.
at any one time.
What if you had 5? And the question I'm asking, why I'm asking that, in one of our cases, they could have up to 10 children. Theoretically, you could have 5 people show up with 2 kids.
Right, but they're not parked, they're dropping off.
It's dropping off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Parking.
Any other
Okay.
questions on any of this?
That's only in the rural residential zoning,
Correct.
That's usually the way it's like home occupation.
okay? And then I had a question of A11.
Uh-huh.
Keeping the stock and trade on premises shall be promoted so long as the majority is done by email. So that's no on-site sales.
Very limited. There's, so item A9 states that the commercial exchange of tangible goods,
Right.
members of the general, shall be permitted on the premises of a home occupation on an incidental, occasional, and infrequent basis. So if
I don't know
you,
if we really even need 11.
we want to, so what we want to do is we want to make sure that it's clear that the keeping of stock and trade, so say you're a Mary Kay sales lady or person, or you have an FFL, and you are kind of the middleman with selling firearms and that sort of thing. You can keep those items on premises, but you're not conducting retail type sales, except for somebody might come pick up their item occasionally. So we just want to make it clear. The previous definition specifically prohibits the keeping of stock in trade.
Okay. And then the last one I have is the 9 repair of items such as small appliances and stuff. They're going to have stock on hand.
Well, they can.
They can, they just can't retail
Sell it
sales.
from there.
Keeping stock. You don't see any conflict with A11 above?
So the keeping of stock and trade on premises shall be permitted so long as the majority of commerce is done via mail service. So again, like, if you need to keep, if you repair radios and you need to keep 100 antennas to repair your radios, that's totally fine. We're talking more like sales-oriented things, like I said.
Yeah, if you had customers coming in to buy it as a
Right,
tenant,
correct.
literally,
Refrigerators.
Yes.
So stock that would,
Inventory.
inventory that you need to have on hand to conduct.
Yes.
Okay. That's all. Good.
Anybody else have any questions?
When everybody comes up to get their renew bill, they will be grandfathered in, or will they now be abiding by these?
Well, it will depend if they can, if a particular use could fall under the home occupation, then they would need a home occupation permit. They would not need a special use permit anymore.
So they might change. They may or may not change.
Yeah. Yeah. I can think of, off the top of my head, a dozen special use permits that have been issued in the last couple of years that would fall under the home occupation definition. So when it was time for them to renew that, they would not need to come back through this. They would just get a permit for a home occupation.
Okay. Any other questions? I'm going to continue. Upon opening the public comment portion of this hearing, those of you who wish to speak either for or against this item upon recognition will give your name and address each time you begin to speak. This is necessary since the public hearing is being recorded. The public comment portion is now open. We will now hear from individuals present wishing to speak in favor of this request. Anyone here wishing to speak in favor of this request? Now hear from individuals present wishing to speak in opposition to this request. Anyone here wishing to speak in opposition? Is there any additional information to be presented?
No, sir.
The public comment portion of this hearing is now closed. Are there any comments or questions, commissioners, or I will entertain a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the proposed amendment to the Leavenworth County zoning subdivision regulation outlined in case DEV 19-138 be approved, that the findings as set forth in the staff report as adopted by Planning Commission and substantiated by the facts, testimony, and evidence presented be adopted by this board, and that the conditions set forth in the staff report be made part of this amendment to the Leavenworth County zoning subdivision regulations.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
And that was Terry, right? Okay. We have a motion on motion and a second to approve case number DEV 19-138, text amendment for Article 3, Section 2, definition of home occupation. Is there any further discussion? Now I have a roll call vote. John Matthews?
Yes.
Terry Bukowski?
Yes.
Mark Danny?
Yes.
Alex Demaro?
Yes.
Wolf Smith's gone, absent. Rocky Hempel?
Yes.
Jeanette Holloman?
Yes.
Jeff Speen?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion carries 8-0. The Board of County Commissioners preside on March 4th at 9 a.m. at the Leavenworth County Courthouse. Okay, we are adjourning from planning and zoning, and we need only 7.
Just 7.
So does somebody want to leave, or?
I'll go. Wait a minute, do we need, you need normally 2, don't you?
No, just one.
We got an absence.
Just
No,
one.
one's not here. Yeah, never mind.
That's one of the two we need all.
Okay,
We need 1 or 2 off.
Just
just
one.
one.
But tonight,
You're
'cause we
leaving,
have
that's
one
all
on
we
the
need.
8th.
Or one off now.
Yeah.
I'm gone.
We're 8 now, you're gone at 7, so. All right, so call the Board of Zoning Appeals to order. Roll call, John Matthews.
Yeah.
Terry Bukowski is going to be absent. And Mark Denny.
There.
Alex DeMauro. Bo Smith is absent. Rocky Himpel.
Here.
Jeanette Holloman.
Can.
Jeff Spink.
Here.
And I'm present. So we have our seven members. Case number DEV 19-138, consideration application for a variance for Leavenworth County zoning and subdivision regulations is Article 5, Section 4, which requires a minimum parcel size of 5 acres and a minimal road frontage of 300 feet on a tract of land in northwest quarter, Section 22, Township 10 South, Range 20 East, to 6 p.m. Also known, and also a tract of land located in the northwest quarter, Section 11, Township 10 South, Range 3, can't be Range 320, so what is the range? 20.
Range
20.
20, yeah. Okay, 20 East of the 6 p.m., Leavenworth County, Kansas, also known as 50 151st Street. Request submitted by Mr. and Mrs. Smoots. Does require a public hearing. Staff report.
Mr. Chairman, this is case number DEV-19-148. It is a variance from the minimum required road frontage. The parcel has road frontage. It has you can see on the map, it has a small sliver of road frontage. This property was broken off from a farm some years ago. However, there was not enough road frontage broken off at the time. The Smoots attempted to obtain additional road frontage. However, they were unable to do so, so we are bringing this through with a variance. I will go through the factors to be considered. The variance requested arises from such conditions which are unique and which are not ordinarily found in the same zoning district. Again, the parcel was created as a deed as a result of a family farm being divided between family members. The applicants attempted to purchase additional property but were unable to do so. Typically in this zoning district, we would have 300 feet of road frontage. This has, I think, 60. The granting of the variance will not adversely affect the rights of adjacent property owners or residents. The granting of the variance is not going to negatively impact those. It will just simply allow a single-family residence to be built on this parcel, which is over 40 acres in size, which is in conformance with the general spirit of the zoning and subdivision regulations. The strict application of the provisions of the zoning regulation, of which the variance is requested, would constitute unnecessary hardship. The strict application would not allow a single-family home to be built on this property. Again, the use conforms to the surrounding area. The variance desired will not adversely affect the public health, safety, and welfare. Again, those items will not be adversely impacted. It will simply allow a single-family residence to be built. And the requested variance will not adversely, I just did that, sorry. Granting the variance, the variance desired will not be opposed to the general spirit and intent of the zoning regulations. Again, it will simply allow one single-family home on a 40-acre parcel to be built, which is in conformance with everything else around it. Staff feels that this definitely meets the general spirit and intent of the zoning and subdivision regulations. Mr. and Mrs. Smoots are here and will answer any questions that you may have, as will we.
The only thing I have a problem with is we're seeing this a lot. They'll strip off the road frontage, says, well, we want to keep our family farm, so we're just going to keep that. And then because our kids want the land, where the kids don't buy the land, they sell them out separately, and now they're stuck with a legal lot. And we're getting these all the time, and these really should stop.
We have had a string of them. You are correct. Most of these are parcels which were created decades ago. In 2011, the state passed a statute that said a legal description needs to be written by a surveyor, and in order for a surveyor to write a legal description, they have to actually survey the property. That certainly will not catch all of them, but the vast majority of surveyors, especially those who work in Leavenworth County, know that we are a zoned county. They know that we have requirements and regulations, and these, now it's more common that we get a phone call about, hey, we would like to divide this property. How can we do that to meet the regulations?
Right.
Certainly can't promise you that all of them are going to be caught. However, substantially more of them are, which is why you all see more
Oh, I know.
flats.
We had one not that long ago in the north part of the county. They did exactly the same thing. Did a bunch of 5-acre tracts on the road and left one tract in the back with a 40-foot drive and said, well, kids want to build and we want that. The kids who were there acted like they had no interest in building.
Sure.
And I think they just wanted to sell off the road frontage, and then I imagine someday they're going to come back and say they want one building site too. But, this really needs to stop. But I know this was done a longer time period ago, but it really is not the intent of our rules and regs. So.
No, it certainly is not. It certainly is not.
Any other questions of staff? Anybody?
Just out of curiosity, how wide is that road frontage? 20 feet?
No, I believe it's 60 feet.
60.
60.
60?
60.
60.
Yes.
Thank you.
Upon opening the public comment portion of this hearing, those that wish to speak either for or against this item upon recognition will give a name and address, time to begin to speak. This is necessary since the public hearing is being recorded. The public comment portion of this hearing is now open. Will the applicant please come forward? Again, please state your name and address for the record.
Richard Smoots, 25886 Fairmount Road, McLeod.
Do you have anything to add from the staff report?
I was born and raised on the dairy farm, which was part of this. I've been living in Leavenworth County for 70-some years. I ended up with this piece of property, and the other piece of property is sold. And we are possibly thinking about selling this piece of property, but it would be, I guess you might say, more lucrative, or if it was buildable. And it's not a right. I own the 60-foot from 251st Street.
Right.
Going back,
It's not an easement. It's part of your property.
yeah, going back to the 48.
Right.
And I sort of, I guess, knew the rules. I've been a lineman for 50 years for Free State. Used to be Leavenworth Jefferson, used to be REA, used to be RDC. And I did know some of the rules and regulations, or, like I say, that there was a right-of-way, you had to have so many feet or something.
Yeah, 300 feet.
So
How long ago was the properties on the road frontage sold off that left that property with only 60 feet of road frontage?
Well, the parcels have been split for decades. The parcel that we're referring to with the 60-foot of road frontage,
Yeah,
that was split away from the family farmstead decades ago.
decades. That's what I figured.
my dad purchased the 40 acres behind us on the farm, and also purchased the 60-foot right-of-way at that time to have access to the farm, itself.
Right. Okay.
So the farm, the family farm, it sold, it's probably maybe not been 6 months ago, which was not part of this parcel. They were always two separate parcels.
All right.
So the Smoots don't own the adjoining land any longer.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Different brother that sold it.
Okay. So it was just split off, but the Smoots family owned all that land at one
They
time.
owned it all, but
Correct.
it's always been a separate parcel. It's just had 60.
Oh.
60-foot of road frontage is the driveway back to the 42 acres.
Okay, so when they purchased it, it was like that already then, huh?
Dad
They
bought it,
inherited.
he purchased it like that,
Oh.
with the,
All right.
60 foot.
Okay. Do you have anything else to add?
I guess if anybody has any questions.
Anybody else have any questions?
And it's my understanding you made an attempt to buy extra land next to that,
That was-
to no avail, and that,
that was.
You attempted to try to make it wider.
Right.
That's what, I guess, some of your rules are or whatever. That
Okay.
you exhaust your, I've exhausted one, like I said, to get the additional road frontage.
Right, yeah. Tried your best you could. All right, any other questions of the applicant? Thank you, sir. We'll now hear individuals present wishing to speak in favor of this request. Anyone here wishing to speak in favor of this request? Anyone here present wishing to speak in opposition to this request? In opposition? Is there any additional information to be presented?
No, sir.
The public comment portion of this hearing is now closed. Are there any questions or comments, commissioners, or I'll entertain a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the proposed variance from minimum required road frontage outlined in case DEV 19-148 be approved, that the findings on the golden factors as set forth in staff report is adopted by the Planning Commission and substantiated by the facts, testimony, evidence presented be adopted by this board, and that the conditions set forth in staff report be made part of this variance.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor with a second to approve case number DEV 19-138, the application of a variance from Leavenworth County zoning regulations, which requires minimal parcel size of 5 acres and a minimum road frontage of 300 feet. Is there any further discussion?
Would this 60 feet provide enough roadway if this piece behind it was actually turned into a subdivision, say with our 2.5 acres or so more?
No, this simply allows for one single-family home. If there were to be any additional improvements to the property made beyond that,
Yeah.
dividing, we would be having a very different conversation.
Yeah. No, there'd be one single family or unit, that's all.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote. John Matthews?
Yes.
Okay, Mark Denny?
Yes.
Alex DeMauro?
Yes.
Rocky Hempel?
Yes.
Jeanette Holloman?
Yes.
Jeff Spink?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion carries 7-0. And we are the deciding factor on this. I hope you all realize that. I forgot to mention it. So it is done. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. We're adjourned.